Hello everyone. Hello everyone, my name is Rakita. Hello everyone. I'm just kidding. Hi everybody, my name is Rakita.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Hello everybody, my name is Rakita. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video talking about the pros and cons of living in Africa, Gambia to be specific. For those of you who do not know, I moved to Africa 4 years ago, and my experience, it was good and it was bad. So that's exactly what I want to talk about today in this video. To start off on a good note, I'm going to talk about the pros first. The first pro on my list would probably have to be all of the nature here, because I am a nature lover. If you know me, you know how much I love animals. So I would say just being around nature 24/7 and all of the trees and the bright colors and the sun is just a big bonus of living here. Another pro would have to be how everything is just cheap here. Buying a lot of like organic foods and fruits, vegetables, it's all very cheap. So if you really want to live a healthy lifestyle, living here is really good for you. Also, like, junk food is not easy to get here, so that's a bonus, I would say, because I lost a lot of weight, and my family they lost a lot of weight. My parents, they lost so much weight. It's not much junk food and fast food here as it is in America. And you know, in America, you're prone to just getting a lot bigger and just living an unhealthy lifestyle because of the availability of junk food and fast food. So yeah, I would say that's a big pro here, because my diet has changed so much and I've become so much more healthier. Another thing, a pro I would say, is you really find yourself here. Like, I've learned so much about myself that I don't think I would have learned while I was in America, because in America, I feel like, for example, on the TV, they only show you what they want to show you about Africa. And when I was living in America, I really did have this fixed idea of what Africa would be like, and so I was very closed-minded. So I would say you just learn so much more about yourself and others, and everything is just so much more free here. I remember when we first came here, like, we didn't really have Wi-Fi like that, and I could say that I'm grateful for that, because you just realize how much you're addicted to your phones and being on social media and stuff like that once you don't have it. I found that, like, when we first got here, me and my family, we became so much more closer. Like, we would just sit in the room talking to each other, because we didn't have any choice but to do that, because we didn't have our phones or electronics and stuff like that. So you just really find yourself and you learn a lot about yourself, and you become so much more open-minded is what I'm trying to get at. The next pro I would say, like I just said, is about how there wasn't any Wi-Fi here at first. During that time when there was no Wi-Fi and connection and stuff, I was able to really reflect on my life and things that I really took for granted while I was in America. Things that I've took for granted, like running water, having power 24/7, having Wi-Fi 24/7, all of those things I took for granted, and I was just able to really sit down and think, dang, I wish I didn't take those things for granted as much as I did, because now I'm in a position where I don't have those things. While I was in that moment, I would be thinking to, like, dang, you know, I'm here complaining about this, but yet I still have a roof over my head. I still am getting food, you know, and there's people in a much worse position than me, you know. There's people in a so much worse position, and I'm here still kind of complaining, you know, and that just makes you become even more open-minded, like I said. So that is a pro, I would say. Another thing I would say as a pro would have to be how the culture here is so family-oriented. That being, like, for example, like if I'm walking down and they're eating rice on the corner or something, which they do, it's very common here. They'll be eating rice, and they'll be like, hey, come and join. You know, they're so welcoming, and they make you feel like family here. And I really had to get used to that, them wanting you to come and eat with them. And just like everyone would eat out of this big bowl together. Like, I just wasn't used to that, and I had to get used to it. And it just goes to show how disconnected families in America can be, because, like, you know, it's so normal to them to just be sharing out of the same bowl, you know. I was just so uncomfortable at first, but I'm like, it's nothing wrong with that. It's normal. Another pro I would have to say would have to be the food here. My favorite dish here would probably have to be chicken YASSA or DOMODA. I hope I'm saying that right. Or actually, the stew. They call it chuyapa, and it's basically like a beef stew. It's just so good. And the spices, they really have a way with their spices here. And the way they season their food and stuff is just so good. I love spicy food. Another pro I would have to say is the architecture here and like just how the buildings, but the houses here are huge. They're like mansions. Like currently, this house that we're living in is just beautiful. I love it. And it's not like, to get a mansion here is not the same price as getting a mansion in America. It's so much cheaper, and that is just like, I love that. Like the houses here are just huge, put it that way. They're just beautiful, vibrant colors, and I just love it. Living here, like you can be living next door to a billionaire and you wouldn't even know it. Like everybody lives together in like the communities. Like in America, for example, the billionaires, they will all have their own community away from everybody else. But here, like you can be living next to a billionaire, trillionaire next door, you know, everybody is, they're not like segregated like in America. I kind of mentioned this earlier, like how everybody is just very friendly and welcoming. They're so fascinated at the fact that us as an African American family has come back to Africa and lived here. They're so fascinated. Okay guys, and the last pro I would say would have to be, they know how to party here. The Africans here, everybody, they just know how to party here. They do not stop partying. The music is playing nonstop. As soon as it's nighttime, that music starts playing. And I live like very close to Gambia, which is where all the partying and clubs are. So they never sleep. They know how to party. And when I do go to the club, like they will dance they butt off. They can dance. I love it. And it's just nice. They just have a way with just gassing you, and they just can really party here. They don't stop partying. And yeah, they are very great at dancing, and they just know how to throw a party is all I can say. They just can really party. My music taste has changed so much. Like I'm so much into Afro beats and a lot of the Niger music and reggae. You can't help but want to tap your foot to it. It's just so lively. That's all I can keep saying. It's just really lively. But yeah, those are pretty much my pros. So now on to the cons. The first con I would have to say is just the staring. The way people stare at you, I know when we first got here, that just got on my nerves. Staring in general, like even in America, just people that stare is just so irritating. Like, is there something on my face? Like, what is it that you want? But here, like, I think it's more of an admiration type thing. You know, they're just like, you look different. It's like a curiosity type of thing as well. Like, they're just so curious as what kind of accent is that? Like, what is a Black American doing here? You know, because there's not many Black Americans here. So yeah, the staring. Sometimes, like I said, it's sometimes they're just admiring you. Sometimes it's just people just being nasty and just like looking in disgust, and that's just, ugh. If you want to be my friend, come and say hi. I'm not mean. I know I sometimes have a mean face, but I'm not mean. Just talk to me. It's fine. Another con I would have to say is there's no beauty supplies. And if you know me, you know I love anything pertaining to beauty. I love makeup. I love doing hair, doing makeup. Here, there is no beauty supply. You gotta get everything, basically what you need in Serakunda, like braiding hair-wise and makeup and stuff like that. Place that they just recently got, it's kind of like a beauty supply, but not like the typical beauty supply that we know. If you plan on coming here though, make sure you get everything you need before you come here. Your braiding hair, your makeup products, your hygienic products, body care, all of that stuff. You most likely won't find it here. Like I said, before you come here, know that they don't have that much makeup and stuff like that as available as it is in America. And speaking of the makeup, like the makeup that they do have here is the skin tones. It's just, we are in Africa. How do you not have the darkest shade of them all? You have like lighter than my skin tone, you know, like I hardly even find my color sometimes. They have some makeup at like the boutiques here, you know, but for the most part, like it's freaking bugs. For the most part, it's just like light colors of makeup, and that is just not good. That I know when I first came here, I wasn't in the country yet, but I was going through TSA, and they threw all my freaking curling products away and everything because I didn't put it in the right bag. I had it in my carry-on bag, and they made me throw all of it away. I was just so sad, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to Africa. It's Shea Moisture. You know, shea butter is in Africa, West Africa. It's coming from there, so most likely they might have my Shea Moisture there. When I get here, they didn't have no natural hair stuff. All they had was like perming stuff for straight hair, like that's all that they had here, and it was just no. And then they came with a beauty stop, the one I was talking about, the kind of beauty supply that they have here. That's the only one. They finally came and they were just like, thank you. I have a lot of natural hair stuff there, thank goodness. But before that came, I was just making my own stuff with my shea butter from the market and like aloe vera gel and just mixing it up and make my own thing. That really grew my hair, I can see. Okay, another con, which is so bad here. The catcalling here is just crazy. Like, some of it, they don't mean harm by it, but some of it is just like, you're doing too much. Like, I could walk out by myself and they would just be like, hey, chepe, which is basically like, I guess, baby girl, or, but they would just be like, hey, chepe, or they would hiss at you. They would be like, s, or, I'm like, am I a dog? Am I a cat? Like, what the heck? And it's just like, it's a big turnoff. And once, if the hissing doesn't work, they will come up to you and be tapping you and trying to like, they will grab your hand or like your shoulder. It's just like, that is not cute. I don't know where you saw that on a movie or what, to where you think that that is acceptable or cute to want to touch somebody. So yeah, that is one thing that really irritates me to this day, because they still do it to this day. Most of them in here are very straightforward. When they want something from you, they're gonna say it. Like, if they want to marry you, they're gonna be like, I want to marry you. I love you. They're just so straight up. Yeah. And another con, I would say, is the traffic here and like the way the drivers are. Like, it would be 2 lanes, and if the 2 lanes are super packed, they will make a 3rd lane. If the 3rd lane is packed, they will make a 4th lane. So they're just like they like make their own rules as they drive. Another con I would have to say is, when I first came here, it was very culture shocking. Like, I didn't know any of the languages, so that was a big con for me. Now I'm kind of learning it a little bit more than I was before. I know a lot more than I did before, you know. I can hear some of it. I'm not gonna say most, but some of it I can hear. And yeah, I can understand some of it. But speaking it, I can say some things, but it just doesn't sound right, in my opinion, with my accent. Like, I just feel like my country accent just doesn't go well with that. But I try when I need to, you know. Another con would have to be the scammers. Thieves. I know when I first came here, and when I first had gotten to school, there was a party that I had went to, and it was a Halloween party, and I thought it was no harm, because, you know, like, when you go to a school party, it's just supposed to be students just there, and we just do, like, you know, PG-13 stuff. Like, it's chill, it's calm. Nope. And keep in mind also, this is another thing, like, they stay out super late here when they party. It's normal to them. Like, staying out to like 6 in the morning is normal. But anyways, like I was saying, I was at a party, and it was nighttime, and we were in like the gym room where we were having the party and stuff like that, and I was dancing, I had my phone in my hand, just being careless, dancing, you know, and this dude just comes and snatches my phone out of my hand, and he slaps me. After he takes the phone, I'm like, okay, you took the phone, first of all, why do you got to slap me? And I was like, dang, I really got my phone stolen at a party. That would be a whole nother like story time. I'll talk about that. And the dude that stole it, he was like in his 20s, almost 30. I don't even know. He was a grown man. And it's like, how pathetic do you have to be to come to a children's freaking Halloween party to steal? Like, and my best friend, she had came last summer. She got her phone stolen while we was at the club. They do it so, like, it's just so easy for them to just steal, and it's just very sad. But that's just a big con for me, just like how they can really ruin a party. They think just because we're coming from America, like, we're so nice and we're dumb, we don't know anything about like the money systems and the currency and just like how things operate here. Like, they think that we're really stupid. Another con I would say is there's not many hangout places here. And let me also say this, like, everything that I'm saying on this pros and cons list is just my experience living in Gambia specifically. There's not many hangout places here. Like, for the most part, we just go to the beach or like to a restaurant, and that's about it. You know, you can go walking around the neighborhood, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's no like proper malls here. There's a mall, I think here, 2 malls, I'm not sure, but everything in there is just so expensive. It's just like, who are y'all catering to? Because like the average Gambian cannot afford this. Like, let's keep it real. Like, it's just not like the proper mall, you know, like in America, like you have like so many different restaurants inside of the mall, and you can go and chill there and like hang out. There's like arcades and stuff. They don't have that stuff here. There's no arcades here. There's no amusement parks, no water parks. As hot as it is here, you would think that there would be like water parks and stuff. They don't have that. So that was kind of a bummer. But somebody told me that there was one here, amusement park or water park, but they cut it down for some reason. I'm not sure. But yeah, that is just a con that I didn't really like. Just not many things to do here, activities. in my opinion. Yeah, another con I would say is like grocery shopping or like running errands. Like if you need something here, you will go to one place, they will send you to another place, and then that person will send you to this place. You know, you just have to keep going to different places, and that is kind of like, why not have everything in just one place? When you're buying groceries, like a lot of foods though here can be under a different name, or they will call it something different. I know when I first came here and I was looking for shea butter, I kept saying, where's shea butter? Like, do you have shea butter? In my accent, you know, they don't know what I'm saying, but they call it duingalam. I hope I'm saying that right, but they call it duingalam. And so yeah, you gotta like try your hardest to learn the language and learn what certain things are, or else you're not really gonna find much stuff here. Another con I have to say is how there are no addresses here. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what I just talked about. When you want to find something or a place, it's very difficult. Like you have to say, okay, meet me at this place, or you see this container, it will have these words on it. Once you find that container, then you take this junction, go straight down, take a right, take a left, blah blah blah. You know, it's just it can get very frustrating and confusing, and it just, GPS can really be your best friend when you come here. Yeah, just not having addresses is really a thing that we had to get used to here. Yeah, another con I would have to say is like just how the healthcare here is set up. The hospitals are not that proper, to be honest. It's like they don't really take it seriously. Like I'm afraid to go to that hospital because like I feel like they're not really gonna do much for me that I can't do for myself, you know. Another con for me would have to be the bad customer service. And what I mean by that is like, for example, if you're going into like a grocery store, they'll follow you around. And it's not like a bad thing. Like some cases they might think that you're stealing. Other cases it's like they're just on you. It's just like, I will ask you when I need help. I will call you when I need help. You don't have to be over my shoulder 24/7. They would just be following you, and it's just like, I'm not gonna steal nothing. And not just that, but also, for example, if I'm at a restaurant and they want to take your order, they would just put it all into their brain instead of writing it down. Like in America, like most restaurants, when the waiter comes, she writes it all on a notepad or something. The people here, they're like, oh, I'll memorize it. I'm just like, okay. Then they come back and they have the wrong order. It's just like, I thought you were gonna memorize it though. The next con I would have to say is about how some here can be not as accepting that you are African or of African descent, you know. They would just see you as foreigner, or tubob as they like to call it here, which is basically like a white person or just like a foreigner. And it's just like, I would think that you guys would be a little bit more accepting of us because we're coming here to start a new life and come back and reconnect with our roots, but yet you're still calling us tubob. Like I get like maybe my accent is different. I mean, it is different obviously, but the only difference between us is just we were brought to America as slaves and we don't know our roots. Like that's really the only thing. But we're coming here wanting to start a new life, like I just said. Like it's just sad. And how they would try to cheat you, like I said earlier, with the scammers and stuff. They see you as tubob, so they want some money, or they think you got money just because you're coming from America, so they try and cheat you. So that is really a con. Another con I would have to say is most of the people here are very blunt. In some cases it can be seen as a pro because, you know, sometimes I want the honest answer, you know, when I ask for it. It's a con to me because sometimes they would just say things that you don't ask for. Like for example, if you have like acne on your face or something like that, or if you're getting big, they would come out and straight say that, you know. They'd be like, oh my god, you're so fat. Or they'd be like, oh my god, you have so much pimples on your face, you know. Like if they see something on you that looks different, they will say it. And I don't think that they mean harm by it. It's just like, you know. And I guess that's another thing also, like most Americans are very sensitive on a lot of things. So, and here, like they're just so blunt and they would just tell you straight up. If you're gaining weight, they're gonna tell you. If you're bony, they're gonna tell you you're bony. Like they're just very blunt, and you know, sometimes when it's uncalled for, that I see as a con. Another con would have to be like just the hot weather. It can also be a pro because I love the sun, just the way it gives me that glow. But it's also a con because sometimes that heat can be very unbearable. It's just like, heat just be making me frustrated sometimes. Like I just don't want to be bothered. It's too hot for you to be up in my face talking to me right now. Like it's just hot. I cannot talk right now. You know, so that can really be a con to me. Everybody, I'm editing the video right now and I'm just realizing that I didn't even mention schooling and education as one of the biggest cons here. Like trying to get your education here, it just was very difficult. I schooled here for 2 years, they call it form. I did form 4 and form 5, and the school was not the best. And many of the schools here are just not that proper, you know. And I noticed like I was not learning anything, and I felt like for the most part I was teaching myself. Half the time the teachers would not come to class. They just wouldn't take it seriously. And also the fact of like how we would have to carry our own desks and chairs to the next class if there weren't enough desks or chairs. If there weren't that many chairs or desks in that particular class, we would have to carry those things to the next class. So that was really negative to me, and I was just like, I had to get used to that. And like I said, the teachers would hardly ever come to class. And when they did come to class, they weren't really teaching much, you know. They were just, it was like, I felt like I was in a Charlie Brown episode and the teacher was just saying, they literally would not be teaching properly, you know. So yeah, I felt like I had to teach myself the majority of my high school year. So yeah, I would have to say education is a very big con here. Schooling. And I wanted to save the best for last. The biggest con of it all. When I first came here, it just irritated me so much. And it kind of goes with the connection and all that, but power outages. When we first came here, I had to get used to that. And the power would be out for at least like 2 to 3 days. Okay, maybe 2 days, I'm pushing it, but 2 days. And then like it would come on, then go off, then be off for the whole day until nighttime. And then like repeat the next day. Comes on in the morning and then off for the rest of the day, then comes on at night, and then so on and so forth, you know. And it's just, I had to get used to that. It was so frustrating because another thing, like when the power goes out, the water goes out, you know. And it wasn't hot water. There was no hot water. The first houses that we stayed at, like it was like that. But now, thankfully, we are at a place where we do have hot water, and the electricity situation is a lot better than it was before when we first came. Like I said earlier about how much you can take for granted when you're in America, that was something that I really took for granted, just having electricity 24/7 and running water. So yeah, power outages was the biggest con of them all for me when I first came here, but now it's much better. All in all, that's my personal experience, like my pros and cons living in Gambia, West Africa. Sorry, excuse my dogs, but yeah, that's just my personal experience so far. And to be honest, I think that the pros outweigh the cons so much more. And that just goes to say, just like, I just love it here. Honestly, before I came here, I did not even know Gambia existed, and it truly is a hidden gem. And all my friends in America, all my family, please come here. I recommend it. It is very beautiful and freeing and peaceful, and just, you learn so much here and you become so much more open-minded. I'm just so grateful that my parents decided to move here and build here. The cons I'm grateful for, the pros I'm grateful for, so yeah. But yeah, like I said, that's just my experience so far, but I hope you guys like this video and like my little take on the pros and cons of this place. But I do have a lot more content in store, talking about my life here, story times, and just my journey so far here. So stay tuned for that. And if you have some suggestions, please leave a comment. Tell me what you would like to see. I will have a lot of vlogs coming up and story times, like I said, talking about my journey here, talking about things that might have happened to me that might be interesting to you guys, because there's a lot of crazy stuff that has happened to me since I've been here. But yeah, like I said, if you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. Stay tuned for more videos. Hope you guys liked it.